Hey everyone, my name is Melissa Harland. I am a healthcare worker, a mindfulness coach, and the developer of the mindfulness-based weight management program called Mind Your Food. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening, and it's just so fantastic to be here with you guys tonight. I really enjoy sharing this kind of stuff. I could geek out about it for hours, but I show people how they can eat the foods they love and still achieve their weight loss goals. A little bit about myself. I have been overweight. I have been underweight, and I've also been the perfect weight. For a lot of years, my weight was all over the place. And while my weight seemed to change all the time, it was a nasty cycle of gaining and losing and gaining and losing again. One thing for me never changed until about 10 years ago. I never dealt with the root causes underlying my difficulties with food or my weight. I kept looking for things outside of myself. And then, like I said, about 10 years ago, I discovered mindfulness and how it can be applied to eating and fitness. So for a long time, I dieted, I hired trainers, I tried every gimmick that I thought might help make a difference. The magic pill, if you will. And it wasn't until I grasped one specific key concept that I was able to finally achieve and maintain the physique I'd been chasing for so long. Now, I'm by no means perfect. I'm not winning any beauty contests, but I am happy, I'm healthy, and it's easy to do. So see, what I didn't know at the time and what no diet or trainer or meal plan could teach me was that it wasn't really weight I was trying to lose. I personally was trying to lose my insecurities, boredom, conditioned responses, and my lack of self-awareness. In fact, it was never the actual weight that really mattered at all. And the truth is that neither does yours. See, you aren't really trying to lose 50 pounds of fat or put on 20 pounds of muscle. And you're not just trying to wiggle your way into that pair of jeans that look so good on you way back when. What you want is the self-confidence, self-love, and self-fulfillment that comes with looking good in your favorite clothes. What you want is the respect proffered to those who look like they know what they're doing. What you want is to be around long enough to see your kids and your grandkids grow up. It's about loving and recognizing the person that you see in the mirror. Just think about it for a second. And you'll see that that's true. What is it that you would do or be if you could just have and keep the body you wanted? We have been conditioned to believe and suffer from the if this, then that mentality. which is why we think that if we can just look a certain way, our lives will somehow be better. And every retailer needs you to believe in this way of thinking so that you will buy their products. Every fitness product, diet plan, and weight loss drug needs you to absolutely believe that you need their product, something external, in order for you to change your body and therefore lead the life that you've always wanted, right? Now, at its best, this have, do, then be philosophy is flawed and self-limiting. Why? Because you don't have to have anything in order to do something, in order to be something. And when you think that way, we're allowing the external variables in our lives to affect our internal state. And when we do this, we are in effect giving away our power, giving the reins over to someone else who doesn't have our best interests in mind, and declaring ourselves not responsible for how our lives turn out. And this is why you and myself as well in the past have tried and failed so many times to maintain your fitness goals. The body is simply, it's a byproduct of the thoughts that we have, the emotions that we feel, the decisions we make, and then the actions that we do or don't take. In short, your external body is the physical manifestation of your inner self. And this means we have to stop living our lives according to the have, do, be BS that weight loss retailers have been selling. We have to take the power back and stop waiting for the right circumstances, products, or body fat percentage to come along to start living the life that we want. You don't need diets or workout plans to do this. Instead, what you need is to learn how to get quiet, listen to and abide by the innate wisdom of your body and soul. See, the body will tell you everything that it needs and doesn't need if we can listen. And this is what mindfulness has taught me about my body. And this is also what I teach my students in Mind Your Food. I teach the joyful, natural practice of living and eating with non-judgmental self-awareness. The weight loss industry has failed so many people so many times because it will never, ever, ever admit that weight loss isn't about the weight. And like I mentioned before, weight is nothing else but a byproduct of the beliefs that we hold and the choices that we make. The body will change, and it happens effortlessly when we uncover, acknowledge, and leave behind the self-limiting beliefs that have to this point literally shaped your life. Diets, workouts, and weight loss surgeries tend not to work out because they do not address or help heal the relationship people have with food and themselves. And I believe in this really strongly. And this is part of the reason why I, even though I'm a healthcare professional, am a little bit torn with Eastern and Western medicine, because I feel like it's, when we don't deal with the root cause of something, we're just going to put a Band-Aid on it. There's no real solution. nothing, it's not going to really help. So like in Western medicine, if we only treat the symptoms, then you don't really address the disease. And versus if you handled what was causing the disease in the first place, then the symptoms go away. And this is how I feel. I feel the same way about things like chronic health disorders that come along with obesity and eating disorders in general, because these in themselves are, these are issues that people struggle with. So rather than just treating the symptoms, if we treat the underlying reasons for people's overeating or eating disorders, then we can truly, truly help them. I believe so strongly that the only way to affect real and lasting change when it comes to food and our weight is to have a strong sense of non-judgmental self-awareness and a joyful, loving relationship with food. And how this is achieved is something that I dive really deep into in my 8-week Mind Your Food weight management program. And, if you want to know more about Mind Your Food, we'll have the opportunity to hear a little bit more about that at the end of this webinar. If the body is going to change, we have to change the way we see ourselves and our food. We don't have to do this. We get to do this. Just one little tiny shift in perspective, and things all of a sudden start to go different ways. Diets don't work because they reinforce the notion that your success and or well-being are dependent upon external factors. And they function on a basis of denial, restriction, and shame. Of course, living in the consumer culture we do, it's not surprising that so many people believe that happiness is something that can be found out there rather than a choice that we make in here. It's like, if I can just buy the right product or have the right amount of money or see the right number on the scale, then somehow I'll be okay. There's so much searching, so much judgment, and so much disappointment when it comes to dieting because of these reasons. Another reason why diets don't work is because they take the joy out of eating. Now, eating, I personally would argue, because I love food, is one of the most pleasurable things that we do as humans. We involve food in every aspect of our lives, whether we are celebrating, mourning, thinking, studying, sleepwalking. We incorporate food into every aspect of our lives. Why? Because we love it. It's fantastic. And all the calorie counting and rigid structure and restriction in dieting sucks all the pleasure out of eating. And why would you want to do something that you don't enjoy? Try and do anything you enjoy with someone breathing rules and restrictions down your neck and see how much you like it. It's not very fun. We have the basic need for autonomy and acceptance as humans. Diets and the judgmental psychological constructs surrounding them violates this need. So something that directly violates our needs as human beings is not going to be a helpful tool. What's the first thing you do when someone, including yourself, tells you that you can't have something? What'd you do when your mom said you couldn't date that boy or that girl? Exactly. You want it, right? You may even obsess over it, make yourself miserable. I've had clients tell me a lot that when they had forbidden foods on how you couldn't have something, or you were bad, or you were a failure, that they would eat those foods in secret. The shame, the ugliness, the judgment never stopped them from actually eating them. But what they would do is gobble them down quietly. Like, if no one saw it, then somehow the calories don't count. Well, as a result, they didn't enjoy the food that they were needing. They felt like crap about themselves, and they were no closer to achieving their goals. So most of the time, what ended up happening is they'd feel worse about themselves than if they had just given themselves permission to eat this forbidden food. They could have at least enjoyed it. But no, when you shame yourself and you deny yourself and you do these restrictions, they ate it anyways. They just didn't get to enjoy it, felt like shit about it, and then felt defeated because they weren't losing their weight. And the angry, negative self-criticism we tell ourselves when we fail is very toxic. And contrary to popular belief, is not an effective method for behavior modification. It can help, in the short term, like, don't do that because I don't want to feel bad about myself. Okay, fine. And, we've seen it work a little bit in the past, but overall, in the long term, if you have something that you have a deep desire for, or that is a need that you have, shame is not an effective behavior modifier. Shame never stopped anybody from truly never doing something. What motivates people is love. And when you might have something you have to do, right? And it's so important, or there's these major consequences if you don't get it done, but have you just not done it because you didn't feel like doing it? No matter the consequence, you chose still not to do it. But if you had something that you really wanted to do, that you loved to do, well, then you did it or didn't do it based on that, not the fear of punishment. And finally, the last reason that diets don't work is because they're too restrictive. They're not sustainable. You see these people with these amazing bodies, and they go in and they win these medals and they do all of this stuff and they look absolutely perfect. That lasts for about 2 seconds. Trust me, as somebody who has been perfect, you get to it and then you crumble into a heap on the floor because thank God I finally made it. And then, of course, you can't keep going with that. In fact, research has shown that after significant caloric restriction, people will not only return to their original habitual eating patterns, but they will most likely consume even more than they originally did, causing them to gain all of the weight back that they just lost, plus some. That's a study by Keyes et al. In 1950. In similar studies, they also found that the yo-yoing back and forth, gaining and losing and gaining and losing, is incredibly dangerous. In fact, for someone who bounces up and down with their weight, they are at a higher risk for metabolic disorders, diabetes, heart disease, all kinds of horrible chronic weight-related diseases. And the irony of it is not that I'm advocating obesity, because that comes with its own health issues. But if they had just stayed a steady weight, regardless of what that weight is or was, they probably would have been better off health-wise. But this bouncing back and forth and back and forth, the pancreas and the heart, they can't handle it. So before you try another diet, think about that one. And if diets don't work, then why do so many people attempt them one after another after another? And they think that this diet, I'll finally lose the weight I was wanting to lose, and I'll finally, keep it off. Well, that's an easy one. It's the only tool being proffered for the job. It's like, I just served you a steak dinner, then only gave you a spoon to cut your meat with. And what are you going to do? Yes, you do your best, but any progress that you make with the spoon is labored and painful and poorly executed. What people need is a better tool suited to the task of weight loss. Mindful eating is that tool. There are a lot of books out there dedicated to the subject. One of them specifically, very specific to mindful eating, is the Mindfulness-based Eating Solution. And this is by Lynn Brossi. She is a great author. There's a lot of great information in this book. She also does a lot of exercises and meditations that you can follow along. And it lays the groundwork and then teaches you lessons that you can use the rest of your life and come back to over and over again. Another great book that I really, really enjoy is by Jon Kabat-Zinn. This one is not specified to just to eating, but this goes over mindfulness. It's like a mindfulness beginner's guide. It's called Wherever You Go, There You Are. It's by Jon Kabat-Zinn. Really, really good book. And they're a good read. Both of these are good reads. They're not super dry and boring. And then the last one I like, and I'm actually still currently reading this one, which is why I decided to bring it to show you guys, but it's called Total Meditation by Deepak Chopra. And this, again, is not isolated to weight loss, but all of the concepts in this book are relevant to what we've been talking about tonight. Just living your life in a way that aligns with your goals and your desires. So these three are my very favorite right now. There's a lot of other great ones by all three of these authors. I'll put links to this. I'm going to send you guys an email with the replay after this. And so I'm going to put the links in here to all three of these books, to my program, everything that we've talked about in here. But I really love those, and they're super, super helpful. But also, you can, if you go to my website, healinghausyoga.com, you can go to the resources tab, I think is what it is. You can see links for all the books and all the resources that I suggest. But, I also help my students achieve weight loss or their weight management goals, not just weight loss. You can be the perfect weight and afraid of your lunch, and you're trying desperately to maintain your weight. You could be underweight and trying to, figure out how to eat again and not be afraid again of your food. But my course is an 8-week course, and it combines lessons like kind of the things that we're talking about today, diving a lot deeper into things than we are today, but then as well as meditations, exercises, and yoga over the course of 8 weeks to help you heal that relationship with food and yourself, and kind of figure out what it is that's been holding you back. It's not so much about adding new things into your life, it is about removing the obstacles. And most of the time, the obstacles are self-limiting beliefs, things that we're like, well, I have to have things this way in order for me to be able to do this. And if I could just do this, then I could be this. And so when we can start to remove some of those self-limiting beliefs, things really start to change in our lives, including our body. And it just kind of snowballs. It just kind of happens. And then you look back over the years and you're like, holy cow, look how my life has changed. I offer this course once a quarter, and the next course begins this next Tuesday. They are live classes once a week. We'll be meeting Tuesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. and it starts next Tuesday on January 10th. And we meet at a local yoga studio right now called the Tree of Life Wellness Center. It's in Willa Park. That's about 20 miles west of Fort Worth. And like I mentioned a little bit before, the course addresses the root causes of issues like overeating, nutrition, exercise, cravings, and emotional eating to help you finally reach your goals. Now, this stuff is science and research-backed, evidence-based techniques. Like I showed you before with Miss Lynn Rossi, who is a PhD, by the way, I'm not the only one that believes in this. There's a lot of research behind everything that we'll be talking about and going over. And it does make reaching and maintaining your goals kind of deliciously spontaneous and an effortless process. Not to mean that there's no work involved, but it does. It just kind of happens and it's pretty spectacular. Mind Your Food is for anyone tired of the back and forth and false promises of dieting. Whether you are overweight, underweight, or struggling to maintain your weight, Mind Your Food delivers real and lasting changes because it addresses what's inside, not what's outside. Usually this 8-week course would cost you $300. But right now I am offering a 20% discount this week to everybody that's attending this webinar, as well as to members of the studio where I'll be teaching it at. If you go to site, just use member code, coupon code member20. And I'll include that coupon code too in the email when I send you guys the replay for this. But Mind Your Food is not another lose 10 pounds in 10 days sort of scheme. And if that's what you're after, then you kind of came to the wrong place. My program is for people who are fed up with the failures and the false promises of dieting. And if it is for those who are truly ready for real change in their lives. Your new body is going to cost you your old one. Mindfulness-based weight management is a concept that is only for those who are truly ready to make their dreams a reality. Are you that person? Are you ready to know the truth about nutrition as well as yourself? If so, then Mind Your Food is the right choice for you. If not, I've heard there's some really great new diets out on the market. You can try it. I don't know. The last one I really remember was the cabbage soup diet. I think that was the last one I heard about. Keto. Yeah, no, none of them maintainable, none of them enjoyable. Mind Your Food will show you how to align your actions with your values in order to make your fitness goals not only a reality, but effortless too. It's going to be so much fun. I'm always so impressed with people's results. One of my most recent students, Kenna, great lady. She is a single mom with 2 jobs. When we started was at her heaviest. She went from 242 pounds when we started in August of this 2022, this last year, to 196 pounds in just 3 months. She went from being at her heaviest and a size 18 down to a size 10. That is 46 pounds. and 4 dress sizes in 3 months. And that was without meal plans. That was without somebody telling her what to do. That was without, a trainer chasing her up a treadmill every single day. It was pretty amazing. And when I spoke to her just the other day, just a couple days ago, she's continued to lose the weight since then. And she's just a few pounds away from her original goal. The impact that mindfulness-based eating has had on my life as well as my students' lives is huge. And it bleeds over, not just your weight, but it bleeds over into your relationships, your satisfaction with your life, with your work, with your family. And the whole world kind of starts to look a little bit better when we start utilizing mindfulness practices. I strongly recommend these books that I mentioned. And like I said, I'll be putting those links in the email whenever I send the replay of this. But so if you're open enough and brave enough to embrace mindfulness, take a look inside and see what is in there, because it's not easy. It's scary, but it's fantastic. Then mindfulness and maybe mind your food is what you're looking for. Thank you guys so much for joining me for today, this evening. We have all struggled with our weight at one time or another. And I am grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit of my story and insights with you. I could geek on about this for hours, but I won't take up too much more of your time. I hope that you found this stuff useful, and I hope that you can use it along the way in your own journeys. Again, my name is Melissa Harland, and this has been a glimpse into mindful eating and what it can offer to those who listen. I had a great time tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see y'all soon.